November 9th, 2015. Fukushima is being dubbed a media scrub. Melted fuel rods are not in their tubs. And who do you think is responsible? They're butchers. They're Abe, Hillary, Obama. They're mutant cancer makers. The isotopes all sailed out to sea. 'Twas enough to make our DNA bleed. Now the purpose of this video is to tell you that beyond the cover-up of Fukushima, there is a big scrub in the media, and they're scrubbing everything that is starting to pertain to Fukushima. And one of them is Dr. Oz. So now we have Dr. Oz on right after Fukushima trying to downplay the risks of the low-level fallout protection.
What should you believe? What is actually a health risk and what is hype? I've enlisted our affiliates across the country to join my truth team, starting with our Houston affiliate, where the buzz is all about the disaster in Japan and how it might affect all of us a world away. We've got a little demonstration that Dr. Kaku designed for us to help understand why radiation is not as severe by the time it hits our coastline as it is to folks who are living near the disaster in Japan. If you don't mind joining.
They sometimes say that the solution to pollution is dilution. By the time it reaches the United States, it is diluted by quite a bit.
Now, at some point, there's always a little radiation around us. By the time it gets diluted enough, it doesn't apparently matter anymore. That's the point of this.
That's right.
So now a lot of folks are worried about their safety, but what I'm most concerned about personally is not the air. I think we've convinced you now by the time it gets here it's not much of a threat, but how the food in Japan might get contaminated by this nuclear accident. So are you concerned about this contamination affecting the U.S. population?
No, in the sense that we have strict controls over food products entering the United States. After 9/11, we're very worried about dirty bombs. We have radiation counters, so our customs officials can very easily scan foodstuffs for radiation, while it's difficult to scan for explosives.
At this point, there's going to be very little benefit to anybody that's on the West Coast. These are really designed to give to people that are directly affected from a nuclear accident. So for people that are in California, to take these excess potassium iodide pills are really at the risk of just hurting themselves, and they are really at helping themselves at this particular point.
So someone is sitting at home watching this show and they already bought the potassium iodide pills. What should they do with them?
If you have potassium iodide pills that are the pharmaceutical dose, which are 300 to 700 times what you're buying from a natural supplement, you need to just get rid of those because they can potentially make you very, very sick.
Folks, are you hearing that? Right? So those big doses of potassium iodine that some folks have bought out there, do not take them, throw them away. You don't need them. As odd as it sounds, I'm concerned about protecting your thyroid gland by making sure you don't take those. And instead, do what we know has been effective. You want small doses of iodine for long periods of time.
Alright, here's what I mean by the scrub. Now here's the Dr. Oz website, and you could search their shows and information for articles. So if you go up and search Fukushima, you're going to get no results. There's nothing that is to be found on Fukushima on the Dr. Oz show after you just watched a video of him explaining that low levels of radiation are not harmful. Now here's another website that is the Food Babe, and it's hot on the trail to investigate what's really in your food, okay? So you would think one of the #1 investigative stories of the century is Fukushima. So let's type in Fukushima. And here are your search results for Fukushima. Sorry, no results were found. And then if you go up into the WebMD on their Japanese radiation risks, right over here it says, are radiation contaminated foods being imported from Japan? Based on the current information, there is no risk to the U.S. food supply, the FDA states on its website. the nuclear meltdown in Japan, what's the risk of radiation? As of March 18th, 2011, they say experts now say it will be weeks until the emergency situation and earthquake damaged nuclear plants are brought under control. Well, right there, the experts are wrong because they're still not under control, and it's going to be going on 5 years in a couple months. And then over here, it says a meltdown in Japan would be devastating to the local environment. Should there be a release of radiation, the winds blow in the wrong direction, residents of Japan could be affected to some degree, but the effects almost certainly will not go far beyond the borders of Japan. Totally wrong there too. So, in conclusion, you want to just do some of your own research, and one of my favorite sites is Energy News, and they will give you some up-to-date stories, and it's not their stories. Like here, there's a story from CBS, there's Document TV reporting, the Japan Times, and then you have the former Japan ambassador that says that uncontrolled nuclear chain reactions could be underway at Fukushima. Troubling indications of recurring criticality. So this isn't the only website you can go to. There's a ton of other ones. Just Google Fukushima news. And the reason why I'm telling you this is they are scrubbing the, like Dr. Oz, they're scrubbing any information about Fukushima. And maybe in 10 years, there might be nothing left on the internet. So don't believe the mainstream media, because obviously Dr. Oz is a mainstream doctor, and obviously he must really not know what he's talking about, or he must have got his toes scrunched a little bit to make him say this stuff, because as a doctor, you would think a doctor should know this stuff, and for them to go ahead and just say that there's no reason to worry, it may have been an old story, but right now, as I speak and as you are listening to this, there are melt-throughs, which is not a meltdown. That means that the cores are in the ground, never to be retrieved again, and there's millions of gallons of water that are going into the earth. This is going to continue for tens of thousands of years, and even 1,000 years or 10,000 years from now, they're still going to tell you that there was no danger of Fukushima. Don't believe them. It's a multi-zillion dollar industry, and there's too much money to be lost. The food is contaminated. There's too much money to be lost. There's going to be a lot of cancers that are going to be coming up, so it's not that there's money to be lost on that, because a lot of us are going to be end up going to the doctors and to hospitals, so they're going to make their money, but they don't care about you. They don't care about me. All they care about is the almighty dollar. And don't believe the mainstream media, because they're doing a Fukushima scrub-a-dub-dub. It actually should be called a nursery crime and not a nursery rhyme, because these people don't have a conscience, and there's a cover-up. Plain and simple. They're pulling the wool over your eyes, people. Don't be a Fukusheeple.